College football week 7 is upon us, and games already going. In fact, Oregon in action tonight. We are not picking that game because, of course, we release our picks every Friday night. So let's start with some of the marquee games on Saturday, and of course, we'll hit all of the Big Ten games across the landscape of college football. And of course, this is from the Hawkeye of the Storm, in case you don't know where you're at on YouTube or on Spotify, Anchor, wherever you listen to your podcasts. First of all, Miami UNC is a big one in the ACC. A couple teams that have kind of underwhelmed this year. We think about what Manny Diaz has done in Miami and Mac Brown in North Carolina. Both coaches not really satisfying a couple hungry fan bases. North Carolina favored by 6.5. I like them to cover and win this game outright. They'll beat the Hurricanes. And again, we'll see what happens with Manny Diaz. Of course, he's a guy certainly you would expect to be on the hot seat moving forward. Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech. Pitt is favored by 4.5. I like Virginia Tech. I've been a fan of the Hokies ever since that Week 1 win against UNC. You know, I've been wrong a lot about Virginia Tech, but I do think Va Tech pulls off this win. They cover the spread. They win straight up. Michigan State, Indiana, Big Ten game here. Michigan State favored by 4.5. I like Michigan State to cover this simply because Indiana is down to Tuttle at quarterback. They're down Michael Penix. They are just a spiraling mess right now. And, the Spartans are kind of winning ugly, but they're winning games. So I will take Michigan State. North Carolina State and Boston College, NC State favored by 2.5. Kind of an interesting game. Both teams have played Clemson close. Of course, North Carolina State actually pulled off the upset against the Tigers. BC was close, was not able to get it done. I will take North Carolina State to win this game and cover that 2.5-point spread. The biggest game maybe in college football Saturday is Georgia and Kentucky. Of course, if you're an Iowa fan, you're rooting big time for Kentucky, not only because it helps Iowa in the college football playoff consideration, but Mike Stoops has been having a great year for the Wildcats of Kentucky. Right now, Georgia, the heavy favorite, 23.5-point favorite. That's a big number. I like Mike Stoops to cover that. I think his team covers that spread, but I do like Georgia to win outright. That's a 23.5 spread. So again, I go Kentucky against the spread, Georgia straight up. How about Cincinnati and UCF? Boy, Cincinnati favored by 20.5 here. Do we see a loss left on their schedule? That's certainly a big question mark. I like the Bearcats to win. I do like Central Florida to cover. But again, I like Cincinnati in this game. BYU Baylor. We see Baylor coming off a loss. BYU, future Big 12 member. I like the BYU Cougars to cover here and actually win this game straight up. So they will beat Baylor, who is favored by 5.5 in Waco. Oklahoma State and Texas. Certainly Oklahoma State has had a surprising start to this season. Texas with the collapse last week against Oklahoma. I like Texas to win this game straight up, but I believe this will be a close one. Okie State covers the 5.5-point spread. Oklahoma and TCU. Oklahoma favored by 11.5. I like them straight up. I like them to bounce back and cover that spread. They'll blow out TCU in this one. Alabama, Mississippi State. Bama bounces back as well after that disappointing loss to A&M last week. They beat Mississippi State, and they cover what I believe to be sort of a small spread here. 16.5-point favorites for the Crimson Tide. I think they win, and they cover that number. Let's move to the Big Ten exclusively. We talked about Michigan State, Indiana. By the way, that game will be at 11 a.m. Central Time on FS1. How about Nebraska and Minnesota? A couple teams hovering around 500. And certainly a big game for a couple of teams trying to make a bowl game this year. I mean, that's what we're looking at right now for both of these teams. Of course, Minnesota wins. Maybe you're talking about them competing for the West, although they looked terrible against Bowling Green, but it wasn't a Big Ten game. I like Scott Frost. I think, well, let me rephrase. I don't like Scott Frost. I like his team to win this game. I don't have a whole lot of faith in what P.J. Fleck has going on right now in Minnesota. Of course, they're down their star running back, Ibrahim, and they've just had tons of injury issues, which is unfortunate for a team that dealt with COVID issues last year. But I like Nebraska to win this game and cover the 4.5-point spread. 11 a.m. on ESPN2. How about Rutgers and Northwestern? A couple teams struggling. Northwestern, boy, they need a win. But I like Greg Schiano, and this would be a big win for the Scarlet Knights. I know it's a reeling Northwestern team, but I like the fighting Greg Schianos to win this game. 11 a.m. BTN. Army and Wisconsin, kind of a non-con game here for Wisconsin against a very talented and tricky Army squad. I like Wisconsin to win this game. I like Army to cover, though. It's a 14-point favorite situation for Wisconsin. They are 14-point home favorites, but I like Army to cover. This will be an exciting one for Iowa fans because we'll get to watch the Purdue-Iowa game in the afternoon and then watch Army and Wisconsin, who, of course, is Iowa's next opponent after Iowa's bye week. They'll play again, Army at 7 p.m. Central Time on the Big Ten Network. And how about this game? Iowa-Purdue, of course, we know the storylines. Jeff Brom has beaten the spread every matchup against Iowa. He's 4-0 against the spread when he plays Iowa. He's 3-1 straight up against Iowa. So this is a tricky game for Iowa. We talked, if you didn't catch our preview show, you didn't catch our podcast for this game, tune over to From the Hawkeye of the Storm. Again, on Spotify, Anchor, Amazon, Apple, Google, wherever you listen to your podcasts, or over on YouTube, and you can check out our kind of breakdown of this game. But again, main storylines are going to be attacking. You know the Boilermakers are going to attack Terry Roberts with Riley Moss out in the secondary. They don't have much of a running game right now. I believe King Doru, maybe I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. He'll be back for this game, but they're down Xander Horvath. They're down their third-string running back. I like Iowa to win this game. As far as the spread is concerned, Iowa favored by 11.5. I wanted to pick Purdue because, again, Brom has been great against the spread, but maybe my heart's leaning too much towards Iowa here. I just think Iowa figures out a way to be really convincing in this game. Again, it's at home. I like the Hawkeyes to win straight up, and I like them against the spread. Again, Iowa favored by 11.5. This game at 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC. My final score in this game, Iowa puts up decent number of points. Iowa scores 31 points. I'm not projecting any safeties. I'm projecting 4 touchdowns and a field goal. Iowa 31, Purdue 17. So Iowa wins by 14. Good win in Kinnick. And if that's the case, they'll move to 7-0 heading into their bye week. Thank you for listening to my Week 7 picks here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Enjoy college football this weekend. Go Hawks. We will talk to you soon. And of course, if you didn't already know, if you forgot, we will be over at Iowa at the Voice of College Football on YouTube to break this game down, Iowa-Purdue, following the game with Coach Don Patterson. We'll be there live, taking your questions, your calls, your chats, again, over at Iowa Football at the Voice of College Football. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy college football this weekend. Go Hawks.